Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video, and the rumours and the news just keeps on coming. Harry Maguire, he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out, he's out. It's done. The deal is off. He's going to stay at United and fight for his place. And it looks like we've got a different alternative target that we've probably spoken about a lot before as well. He's been a target, Jonathan Tah. So yeah, just to break down what kind of happened. We had this from Darmash earlier, and a lot of other news outlets kind of started to report it, saying the deal for Maguire's off, as Man United would have little time to bring in a replacement, and Ten Hag's happy for him to stay and fight for his place. So, although we had the deal agreed, Harry Maguire is a no-go, and now it looks like we could be turning our attention to Jonathan Tah. West Ham football, obviously, Sean tweeting earlier that it could be expected to land in the next 72 hours, a new centre-back. And then he's saying like the smart money's on Jonathan Tah, 6'5", 27 years old. And yeah, his release clause has just expired, which was at 20 million euros. So it looks like this is probably going to be the deal we go for. Whether it's wrapped up in the next 3 days, I'm not so sure. But talk to me, Stoff. How are you feeling about A, Maguire deal now being off, and B, this latest target of Jonathan Tah being the next centre back to maybe come in?
Well, I've made my thoughts on Maguire as a whole very clear across this window. I mean, unless Aston Villa are going to go in for a Tyrone Mings replacement, I do really think that we were kind of the best he could have hoped for in terms of actually getting a fresh start. And he would have been come into our side, and he would have been given the captaincy by Moyes. Where else is he going to get that? It really was a case of, I think, a player having ideas way above their station in terms of their overall quality, not necessarily in their career, because he is a good defender, but in terms of recent form. And I mean, this sort of golden handshake that was rumored, I know it sounds a bit dirty and un-YouTube friendly, but it's supposedly £15 million is what he wants, and £6 million is what he was offered. And I get there's a huge amount of money, but surely if you love playing football, you're going to think, well, my chances are here limited, and I'm not getting any younger, so it's surely you want to be thinking about being first name on the team sheet and captain, which I don't think he's going to get anywhere else.
I also think that's now going to harm his, England chances. I mean, we've been saying it for a few years now, and he seems to keep getting picked and played. So maybe that won't be the case, but he's not getting any younger, and this probably would have been a good move for him. Being a regular first team football again, playing in Europe. More eyes on him. Hopefully improved performances, but now he's kind of stuck fighting for his place, where it looks like he's not really favoured, and now he's kind of going to be in limbo. So in terms of the cap, before we move on to Jonathan Tah, do you think that could mean now Ward-Prowse is probably going to be given captaincy over the others, that maybe Zuma, maybe Aged, maybe Souček? Do you think it probably will be Ward-Prowse now Maguire isn't coming
in? I don't really know, to be honest. I think if you're Moyes, it's a difficult situation, because you've got so many players there who are sort of senior figureheads, but also have been at the club for a while. And, there's potentially that Zuma captaincy, which if he plays, and we know he has issues with his knee, so it could be a case of you make James Ward-Prowse vice captain just to cover that. But I always think it's a bit risky when you immediately walk into a club and become captain. I just think it's a bit of a weird statement to your squad.
He did it for United, actually, I think, Maguire, as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and I know that was supposed to be like, we've signed a 90 million, well, was it 90 or 80 million pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
80 million pound defender. He's going to be our captain, take us forward. That's a real statement. But I think when you're taking an out of form player and you've just won a European Cup, and you're saying, we're now going to put all the captaincy and I'm trusting this guy. Like it's to me, it kind of is a bit strange. The other thing that I wasn't the biggest fan of this. I just think £30 million is a lot of money for a player who wasn't playing very much football.
Yeah.
Did start to pick up a couple of injuries here and there, but also suits a very specific style of play. And while that would have been great under Moyes, if something happened in terms of Moyes' tenure, it could be a big issue for the club financially as well, because you would have a player on a big contract just essentially sitting there and collecting a lot of money. So
I think as well, it's just such a big gamble. Although you're getting a player that's played in the Premier League a lot before, and we know what qualities he's got. Like you mentioned, coming in for 30 million and making him captain is a lot of pressure on him again. It doesn't really take away that pressure. I mean, it does in a way that he's not playing for, the pressure of playing for United, but there's still that pressure there to come in and make an impact and be that captain. But I mean, yeah, it looks like that's off, and the replacement being lined up is Jonathan Tah. If this comes more concrete and we start to make moves, we will do a separate breakdown video. Don't worry. But initial thoughts on Tarsloff? Would you be happy to see him come into the club?
I'd be very happy with him, especially because, I mean, the rumored reason that we let this release clause slip is because it all had to be paid up front, with quite a lot of release clauses. So we kind of wanted to stagger the payments, and if we're going to pay £18 million or 20 million euros, we want to be able to do that over a year or two. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I do think is that he does really suit the kind of Moyes build. He is the archetypal Moyes centre back in the terms that he is absolutely huge. Like he's not just tall, he is built he's like the mountain or something of Game of Thrones. He's massive. And in terms of if you have a 50-50 with him, you're not going to win it. He is dangerous in terms of both ends. He can defend well, but getting onto the end of a set piece, he's nigh on unstoppable. It's
got Ward-Prowse now as well.
Exactly. So I think in terms of his overall contribution, there's no secret that in terms of the centre backs that Leverkusen do have, he's not the best one, and that's not being disrespectful to him. They have Hincapié and they have Tapsoba, who, in my opinion, are two of the best centre backs in Europe, outside the kind of elite clubs.
Yeah,
and I think he's probably looking to prove himself. It's probably a case of he wants to go somewhere new, and as he is 27 years old, push on, show a bit more about himself, and maybe even get himself a bit stamped into that Germany side, with the tournaments coming up.
Yeah, I think as well. I mean, I remember there was quite a lot of talk around Jonathan Tah. I mean, it really wasn't that long ago. He's only 27 still. Must have been about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. But he was one of those big prospects coming up. And, like you mentioned, he hasn't really pushed on to the heights he probably could have. And maybe this move to the Premier League is what he needs and what he wants right now. And like you mentioned, he's probably their third best centre-back at Bayer Leverkusen right now. So this probably makes sense, and it's already been said that they're probably willing to sell him this summer. So now that release clause is gone, we know that it's not really going to cost us maybe more than £20 million. And if you look at the alternative of Maguire, it's going to cost us a lot more money, and the wages would have been a lot more. So yeah, I think Tah makes great sense. It'll be interesting to see if there's any developments over the next couple of days on this one, but initially it looks like a very smart move. It looks like a Steiden move, and yeah, I mean, I hope we do make it happen, because it would be a really good signing, and it would also give us the funds to play with, which we know we need in other positions as well. So, yeah, any final thoughts on the whole Maguire-Tah situation right now?
I'm quite happy that the Maguire saga looks to be over. I did say I think it could be a bit of a ploy, just to kind of see if he blinks first and gives up some of this fee. But I think when you're talking about £9 million worth of difference, look, everyone's telling me about money this summer, and how it makes the world go around, which we know, but in terms of him giving that up, it's not going to happen, is it really? So I think the logical move is to just give up, move on. And there's potentially a lot better value out there, as we said with Tar. There are players like Bella Kochap at Southampton. There's Harwood Bellis, who we've also got links to. And I want to throw a little spanner in the works. We're currently talking with Wolves, someone like Max Kilman, who would still take a big kind of money signing, but you could potentially balance that out a little bit with Cresswell going the opposite way. Those are the sort of deals that to me appeal a lot more. But in terms of Tar, I think it's a very solid signing. You know what you're getting. Moyes is going to know what he's getting in terms of the style of the defender. And as we said, if you've got Souček, Tar, Alvarez, these colossal men in the box, on the end of a James Ward-Prowse free kick, it's almost a cheat code to at least get an attempt on goal.
Yeah, definitely. I think I definitely agree with those points. So, yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. Are you kind of annoyed that Maguire is now off? Would you have liked to seen him in a West Ham shirt? Or is Tar a better option for you? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Leave a like on the video. As always, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, Sloth, one thing for us left to say, and that is...
Come on, your eyes.